I wanted to address two things in this video. One, kids and vegetables, and the other, organic stuff. Two people asked about these things, and I thought it would be fun to talk about. So first, kids and vegetables. The secret to it is starting them early. The earlier, the better. That way it develops their palate and their taste buds. They learn to like those bitter, strong flavors that are so often found in vegetables, and then it's just easy later. But of course, there's going to be some things they don't like, and that's normal. I think that always putting it in front of them is a huge, it really works well, because as they get older, they'll be more willing to try it, hopefully, because it's just the norm in your home that you eat vegetables. They like other vegetables. Now they want to try this vegetable. They see you and Daddy eating it, So hopefully they'll branch out and try it. My kids don't like zucchini or squash, but this spring, I already made some zucchini and squash once, and my older son tasted both of them. So that's awesome. He's 5 already, or almost 5 next week, actually. And he was willing to taste it, where before he just knew he didn't like it and he wouldn't touch it. So I think always putting it in front of them is good. And not stressing over the stuff they don't like, because, I don't like eggplant. I hate eggplant, so I don't eat eggplant, and that's okay. They may never like zucchini or squash, and that's okay. They like everything else, so that's fine with me. But just teaching them to always be willing to try new things is really good, and something that I always play around with them about is green eggs and ham. How in the book the guy will not even taste them, and he's saying he doesn't like them before he even tastes them, but then once he tastes it, he loves it. So I tell them all the time, if they say something like, I don't like that, I'm like, you haven't even tasted it. You sound like the guy from Green Eggs and Ham. And then they'll taste it, and it's fun. It's very easy to become stressed out and completely miserable at the table for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. I think dinner tends to be the hardest, honestly, because breakfast is, I don't know, they just like oatmeal, they like pancakes, they like eggs and bacon, they like bread. It's just easy. And then lunch is always easy because it's like sectioned food. So it'll be like lima beans and sweet potatoes and avocado. They devour it. But dinner is different. It's like stir fry, or, I don't know, quinoa with roasted veggies and chickpeas, or, a dish. And those dishes, I think, are just harder to introduce to these little young kiddos.
Can you help?
Oh, yeah. And so, instead of banging it, look, just squeeze this together like that. You see how it moves around and gets unstuck? And then you tip it over and it'll come right out. And you can use your hands to pull it out. And so they're just starting to really be okay with like vegetable pot pie and stuff like that. Some meals are harder than others, and then through those you just have to, keep letting them try it, and in some cases make them eat it. And we've been really adamant about not making a second meal, because I don't want to get into me and Daddy eat this and you guys eat that, and every night I cook 2 full dinners. No way. This is what's for dinner and this is what you're eating. And I think that not only helps mom not have to be cooking 2 meals every day, but it also prevents your child from thinking that everything revolves around them and that you're going to cater to their every need. We sometimes have to do things that we don't like, and that's just life. So it's a good life lesson, I think, to not cater to them and make them eat what's in front of them. Tomorrow, you may enjoy dinner more than you did today, but today, this is what you're eating. And so that I never push meat. Like, if my son doesn't want to eat ground beef, I'm like, okay, I don't care, but you're eating all your broccoli and you're eating all your brown rice. I don't necessarily care whether they eat their meat or not, because that's like the least healthy thing on their plate, so I don't mind. So that's really my tips on that. I do want to just encourage you that it gets easier as the kids get older. Mine are only 5, almost 5 and 3, and it's already easier. Now we're starting to dialogue more at the table and talk about their day and what they liked about their day, and talk about just fun stuff. And before you know it, they've eaten everything, and it's like, oh my goodness. But then we have hard days too. But there is light at the end of the tunnel. You just got to hang in there and go through that. It's just hard when they're little and they're learning, about food and all that. So just keep trying and pushing the good stuff, and, maybe you can reward them with a healthy dessert like fruit. If they eat everything, but I would definitely stay away from, you know, unhealthy dessert, especially letting them have it even if they didn't eat their healthy dinner, you know. And that's really all I would really say about that. Don't choose that as a battle to spank and become angry, and just work with them. And you might be there for an hour and a half sometimes, but hey, that's what life is with little kids. And then as far as organic food, I think it's really easy to get carried away in thinking about what's the best stuff to always get organic. And there's a lot of them, honestly, like all the thin-skinned fruits like apples and pears and berries and lettuces, which are just completely exposed, berries, which are completely exposed. Like all of that stuff is supposedly you always want to get organic. And bananas are not that big of a deal. Neither are oranges necessarily, because the skin is and the peel is thicker. But I mean, the way I do it is, first of all, I don't buy strawberries or tomatoes or peaches or any berries really at the grocery store anymore, because I've tasted homegrown stuff, and when I buy tomatoes and berries and peaches at the store, I am so disappointed and like just disgusted that I spent my money on it that I just don't buy it anymore. So I really only ever eat that stuff when we grow it or when I buy it from the farmer's market or local. So those things, I don't always get organic, but I know that it's not sprayed because it's in my yard, which is awesome. But the seed is not organic that I use. And, you know, you can get so carried away, like feeling like it's so important. And it is important. I do not want to downplay how important it is to eat well. It's a huge passion of mine. And I really feel like God made food to be the perfect nutrients for our bodies that he made. And so I love eating food that helps our bodies thrive. But then I fall into the hopeless feeling of the food industry has destroyed our soil. We're growing thousands of acres of one crop and like ruining the soil. There's like no nutrients in anything. Everything is genetically modified. Everything is sprayed with chemicals. There's nothing that's actually nutritious anymore. And then on top of that, when it's called organic, they may be lying. You know, it's so hopeless at the same time. So through my journey these last 5 years, I've just come to the point where I get organic when it's affordable. I don't when it's not. I grow what I can. I get stuff at the farmer's market. And I just do the best that I can with what I have. The Lord is sovereign, and it is not an eternal value. It doesn't have eternal value as far as what we eat and don't eat. I mean, it does matter, and it does affect the quality of life, and it is important, and we do want to be good stewards of our bodies and responsible and teach our families how to eat well and feed them well. But there's only so much you can do, and it can be very discouraging. So to avoid that discouragement, I just rest in the Lord's sovereignty and doing the best that I can with what I've got. And I just encourage you to do the same. God is sovereign. Do what you can. If you can afford all organic, go for it. If you can have a huge organic garden, do it. If you have a farmer's market nearby, buy all your produce from there if you can. If you can't afford organic, then buy frozen vegetables. You know, like it's what you can do. And you can only do so much. So I hope that's encouraging. And yeah, they say there's stuff you should only eat organic. But what do you tell the person that can't afford that? You know, oh, you're doing something wrong? No, you know, so it's just really, it can be very tricky, and you don't want it to consume your life and your mind to the point where you're valuing that more important than sharing the gospel with people, you know. So I've been there, I've walked that path, and I've had to battle it and get away from it. And now I'm in a very comfortable spot where I'm at peace with our diet. I know that it's not perfect, but it's the best we can do. And that's all I have to say. I hope that that was helpful and encouraging. Have a great day.